Before you hear this story, answer one question honestly. If your phone rang right now, and no one had your number, would you pick it up? Emily Carter did, 3 times, and by the 3rd time, it was already too late. This is the last call. Rain hadn't stopped in 6 days. Emily Carter sat alone in her small apartment on the edge of town, the glow of her monitor the only light in the room. She was a graphic designer, 28, sharp, independent, the kind of woman who prided herself on never being afraid of the dark. That was about to change. It was almost midnight. Her coffee had gone cold hours ago. She rubbed her eyes, glanced at the clock, and muttered to herself, 1 more hour. Just finish this and go to bed. That's when her phone rang. She frowned. No one called her this late. She looked at the screen. A no number. She almost let it go to voicemail. Almost. Instead, she picked up. Hello. Silence. Then, breathing. Slow. Deliberate. Wet, like something struggling to fill its lungs. Hello, who is this? Nothing but that breathing, growing louder, closer, like the caller was pressing the phone directly against their mouth. Emily hung up, her heart hammering. A prank, she told herself. Some idiot with too much time on his hands. She had no idea she was wrong. If you think one strange phone call is unsettling, wait until it happens every single night, at the exact same time, from a number that shouldn't exist. The calls didn't stop. They came every night after that, always past 11, always a no number, always that same ragged breathing on the other end. By the 4th night, Emily stopped sleeping with her phone in the bedroom. She left it in the kitchen, buried under a couch cushion, once even in the freezer, half joking to herself that cold plastic couldn't possibly ring. It didn't matter. The sound still found her, muffled, but unmistakable, echoing through the apartment like it knew exactly where she'd hidden it. On the 5th night, something changed. The breathing paused. And for 3 full seconds, Emily heard something else underneath it. Faint, distant, almost like static from an old radio. And beneath that, a woman's voice, murmuring words too soft to catch. She called her best friend Sarah the next morning, voice tight with exhaustion. It's happening again. Every night, Sarah. The same breathing. But last night, I think I heard someone talking underneath it. Talking how? I don't know, old. Like a recording, maybe. I couldn't make out the words. Block the number, Sarah said. I tried. It calls from a different one every time. Different area codes. One of them wasn't even a real prefix. Sarah, I looked it up. It doesn't exist. Sarah went quiet for a second too long. That's not normal. That's not a prank. Prank callers don't call from numbers that don't exist. Emily laughed it off, but that night, alone in her apartment, the laugh felt hollow. She caught herself staring at the phone charging on the nightstand, half expecting it to twitch to life on its own. Because deep down, some part of her already knew. This wasn't random. This was aimed at her, carefully, patiently, like something choosing its moment. She just didn't know why. Not yet. Sarah came over that weekend, insisting Emily shouldn't be alone any more than she had to be. They sat up late, wine glasses forgotten on the coffee table, when, right on cue, at 11:47 p.m., the phone rang. Sarah's face went pale as she watched Emily answer it on speaker. Breathing, slow, wet, and this time, so quiet it might have been imagined, 2 words, dragged out like they cost something to say. Found you. Sarah grabbed the phone and ended the call herself, hands shaking. Okay, that's not a prank. We need to figure out what this is, now. What Emily found in her attic that morning would connect her to a secret her own family had buried for 60 years. Desperate for answers, Emily climbed into her attic the next morning, a space she hadn't opened since she'd moved in, still packed with boxes from her late grandmother's house. Dust, Cobwebs, the smell of old paper and something faintly metallic underneath it, like a room that had been sealed too long. And one box, near the back, that felt colder than the rest of the room, cold enough that she saw her own breath fog in front of her, even though it was the middle of summer. Inside, an old photo album, its leather cover cracked with age. She flipped through it under flashlight, smiling strangers in black and white, a wedding, a christening, until one photograph made her blood run cold. A woman, same jawline as Emily, same eyes, standing in front of this exact house, decades ago, in a dress that belonged to another era. Written beneath the photo, in faded ink, Margaret, gone too soon. Emily had never heard the name before in her life. Not once, not from her mother, not from anyone. The next day, she drove to the town's small historical society, a cramped building that smelled of dust and old glue, and asked the elderly archivist if the name meant anything. The woman's expression changed the moment Emily said it out loud. Margaret Carter, the archivist repeated slowly, like the name itself was unlucky to say twice. I haven't heard that name spoken in this town in a very long time. She disappeared into the back and returned with the yellowed newspaper clipping, handling it like it might crumble, or like she didn't want to hold it too long. Emily spent that night on her laptop, digging through genealogy records, old newspaper archives, anything she could find. What she uncovered chilled her more than any phone call ever could. Margaret Carter, her great-aunt, had vanished 60 years ago. No body, no explanation. Just a single line in an old town record, the same one from the clipping, last seen speaking on the telephone, never seen again. Below it, smaller, almost an afterthought, 3 other names, other women from the same bloodline, across different decades. Each one listed with the same chilling note, last seen speaking on the telephone. Emily's hands were shaking now, because she realized, with sick certainty, the breathing on the phone wasn't a stranger. It was Margaret, trying to reach her, and Emily wasn't the first woman in her family this had happened to. She might just be the first one to find out why in time. What happened next would prove that this was never a haunting, it was a countdown. That night, the phone rang one final time. Emily stared at it, every instinct screaming at her not to answer. But she'd come too far for silence now. She picked up, Margaret. The breathing stopped. Then, a whisper, not static, not distortion. A real voice, dry as old paper, and it said her name. Emily. She dropped the phone. The lights flickered. The temperature in the room dropped so fast her breath fogged in front of her. From the corner of her eye, a shadow moved where no shadow should be, tall, thin, wrong. And then, the vision hit her like a wave. Margaret, decades ago, standing in the same living room, screaming into a rotary phone as something dragged itself out of the dark behind her. You must break the cycle, Margaret's voice echoed in Emily's skull. Or it will claim you too. It never stopped, it just waited. For someone else who shared our blood. Emily understood now. This wasn't a haunting. It was a countdown that had started the moment she was born. Emily was done running. What she did next, she knew, could either end this forever, or destroy her completely. Emily did the only thing she could think of. She lit candles in a circle in her living room, hands trembling, and spoke into the dark. I know you're here, she said. I know what you did to Margaret. You don't get to do it to me. The candles guttered. The shadow in the corner unfolded itself, taller than the ceiling should have allowed, and Emily felt something ancient and starving turn its attention fully on her for the first time. She didn't run. You don't own this family, she said, voice shaking but growing steadier with every word. You are not welcome here. You will never control us again. A scream tore through the apartment, not human, not animal, something in between, and the shadow collapsed into itself and was gone. The candles went out. Silence. For the first time in weeks, true silence. Emily thought it was finally over. She was wrong. Morning came gray and quiet. Emily sat by the window, sunlight on her face for the first time in what felt like forever. No breathing on the line, no shadows in the corner. She almost believed it was over. She was already planning to move on, sell the apartment, leave the town, leave Margaret's name behind her forever. Then her phone buzzed on the table beside her. A known number. Emily stared at it for a long moment, her hand hovering, not quite touching the screen. Because somewhere, underneath the relief, she already knew. Some doors don't close just because you tell them to. Some things don't ask permission to come back. If a call ever comes through from a number you don't recognize, in the middle of the night, when you're the only one awake, maybe let it ring. This has been Nightmare Narrated. If this story got under your skin, subscribe, because the next call might already be waiting.